Hi everyone, this is Professor Cole, and today we're going to be discussing academic introductions, specifically those kinds of introductions that go beyond hooking the reader, which is the classic advice. So hopefully I can give you a few suggestions to make this a less miserable experience and help you produce more effective introductions. Okay, so for a moment, let's just briefly talk about the purpose of an introduction. To many novice writers, an introduction is a section of their papers that they want to race through as quickly as possible. But introductions serve a very important function in an essay, just as they do in our daily lives quite often. So as it says here, imagine for a moment that you're at a party with a group of unfamiliar people. Your friend, who seems to know everybody there, introduces you to one of the partygoers, providing you with some basic information about him or her. You know, the person's name, occupation, hobbies. This information helps you feel more comfortable, and it serves as the foundation of your new relationship with him or her. Academic introductions serve the exact same purpose. They provide the readers of your essay with some basic information about the topic. Okay, and this serves as the foundation of their experience with your writing. You want to provide them some of that basic information because, you know, probably they don't know as much about the topic as you do, especially if you've done your research. And they need some of that information to feel comfortable with the topic, to understand what's to come in the main body of your paper. As when meeting someone new, you want to make sure you make a good first impression, and an introduction is your first impression to those readers. So a simplistic, overly brief, or vague introduction, well, that'll create a negative impression. You know, the readers will think you're either lazy or uninformed or just not very interesting. So do make sure to take your time with that introduction. Of course, an introduction that goes on too long, never stopping, well, that can create a negative impression as well. It's all about balance, like everything else in writing, whether it's academic or fiction or whatever. It's all about balance. Writing is an art form, it's not a science, and so it may take you a little bit of practice before you figure out what's too little and what's too much. So, hooking the reader. This is the classic advice, as I've already mentioned, and something most of you have probably already heard. Many writing instruction textbooks suggest that hooking the reader, which in this context means grabbing and holding your audience's attention right from the beginning, is the most important quality of a strong academic introduction. And while it's a worthwhile goal, and if you can accomplish it, more power to you, it's not always possible. And focusing so much on it right in the beginning of an essay may prove paralyzing. Um, Another major reason this proves difficult for students is that they assume a reader's interest is the same as a reader's entertainment. We live in a society that is absolutely obsessed with entertainment. I mean, think for a moment how much of your day is spent being entertained in some way. But in academia, in academic writing, these terms are not synonymous. They're not the same thing. A reader may possess an intellectual curiosity about a subject, but not find it amusing or entertaining. In fact, a lot of the very important social issues out there right now, they're interesting, but I wouldn't call them entertaining by any stretch. So you need to make sure you differentiate between interest and entertainment. Instead of worrying about entertaining a reader right in the beginning of an essay, or even necessarily interesting a reader, focus on providing that reader with that basic information that I talked about. That usually consists of the significant history or the context, what's going on with the topic right now. And always ask yourself the following question. What does the reader need to know about this topic's history or current situation to understand the rest of my essay? What in your research have you found to be very, very important information, foundational information, that a reader who hasn't done that research needs to know before continuing on? Why should I care? Why is this important? Have you ever read an essay or an article and asked yourself those questions? Well, readers do all the time. And in addition to presenting your audience with that basic information we've talked about, you need to place something in that introduction that shows readers why this topic matters, why they should pay attention, why they should care. This isn't always easy. I mean, some of the topics you're going to be assigned seem undoubtedly unimportant to you. okay? But almost all of them do have an importance in the bigger picture. Take a topic like weather patterns. You know, to me, that's not the most exciting topic in the world, okay? But it is an important topic, even if you may initially think it's not. If, for example, the study of weather patterns allows scientists to develop a better understanding of weather and climate, which has a direct effect on each and every one of us. Okay, these studies include the examination of disasters like hurricanes and tornadoes, changes in climate that affect crops and migrations, okay, all those sorts of things. So it affects people on a daily basis. And emphasizing the importance of that topic will help you produce a more effective introduction. Okay, so here's a full example that may serve as a model for your own papers. I just want you to see how the different parts work together and show you how a certain pace and balance is achieved. So this happens to be an introduction for an essay on the education of special needs children. Although once fraught with abuse, ignorance, and outright neglect, the education of special needs children has at last gained widespread attention among educators and scholars. And that's just a nice general opening. You know, it gently leads our audience into the topic, into the essay, and also provides them some of the significant history, which is again some of that basic information that they need to know. As it continues, indeed, according to the Tulikov Institute for Scholastic Studies, the number of special education programs in the U.S. has more than tripled in the last 20 years. That sentence actually serves a couple different purposes. First, it does provide readers with the context, you know, some information about what's currently happening with this topic. And second, since it refers to a specific source, it helps establish our credibility. If readers see that we've done research, if they see that we know something about the topic beyond common knowledge, they're more likely to trust us. And trust from an audience is imperative. It is absolutely imperative to the success of a particular writing piece. Despite this progress, however, many school districts still struggle to provide adequate support for special needs students. Okay, a little more context, you know, leading us up to that thesis statement, which is going to appear at the end of the introduction. And here it is. Unfortunately, state budget cuts and a lack of qualified special education teachers threaten the future of both these vital programs and of those students who depend upon them. And there's our thesis statement, which usually, at least for my students, I recommend that they place it at the end of the introduction. Not everybody agrees that that's the best place for it, but I happen to think that that is a good spot. Again, the thesis statement is a summation of what the essay is going to be about, and you've had a little time to warm up your readers in the beginning parts of the introduction, and the thesis statement doesn't come so late that the audience doesn't understand where we're going with it. So just a brief conclusion here, guys. Remember that introductions can prove difficult, but focusing on the goals we've talked about rather than hooking the reader can make the experience far less frustrating. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Writing, it's challenging. It is challenging even for people who are natural writers. But don't shy away from those challenges. Overcome them, and in doing so and practicing these skills, you become a better writer. Remember, provide those readers with the basic information they need to understand the rest of your essay. This usually includes the topic's significant history, current context, and again, establishing why the topic is important, why they should care, why it matters. And don't be afraid to include a little bit of research. Make sure to avoid drowning readers in facts and figures. So hopefully this proves helpful to you. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, and feel free to peruse the rest of the videos on my channel as they appear. If you are interested in going a little bit beyond this, I do have a new book out called Better Writing Beyond Periods and Commas, and that's available from Amazon or most major bookstores. And I'll put a little link in the description below. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, guys.